But anyway, at this time, in this period of history of humanity, there are opportunities, like in Buddha Dhamma, to begin to find this out yourself without, it's not a blaming, saying my suffering's caused through, not having all the best conditions available to me when I was born. But it's a very maturing sense of learning from the way you are, whatever that might be. We don't need the best conditions for enlightenment. We don't have to have perfect parents and perfect education and in a fair and just and perfect democratic society. We don't have to have perfect health and all the best. Even though that would be very nice, if one does have that. But with all the imperfections of our conditioned experience and our karmic inheritance, we learn from the way we are. This is developing the path of willing to observe the nature of conditioned phenomena, rather than judging it in terms of how it should or shouldn't be, or what its best possibilities could be that I don't have. Because that just tends to create more neurotic complications, and we never find a way of liberation from it. It just increases the complexity of the conditioned realm. With a teacher like Luang Por Chah, he was, he was very famous for his kind of directness, and I think that's what most of us who knew him or have followed in that tradition, what we like, because we are from, usually most of us are educated and we have acquired a lot of knowledge and know all kinds have very strong views about everything. But we don't know what we're doing till we start looking and observing. When I first went to stay with Luang Por Chah in 1967, I had a real interest in Buddhism, and I had a year of practice as a samanera, of practice of meditation. But the thing that I found challenging, living with a teacher like Luang Por Chah in a very strict Vinaya monastery in Thailand, whose language I couldn't speak, or the culture was very different from my own, was there was so much, it was a tendency to form views and opinions about it. To see in the way my mind would tend to form critical views of how things should or shouldn't be, or even patronizing views, because from a kind of modern American, very kind of avant-garde background on the west coast of the States, into a very conservative rice-growing culture at that time. All the other monks were sons of farmers, rice farmers. And so it's easy to, on the personal level, to develop views and opinions. One could kind of be like elevate the simple rice farmer as much better off than the complicated, neurotic Sumedho seemed to be. That's one way. Or I could go the other way of, I have much more sophistication and worldly knowledge than they do. And but anyway, the whole effort of Luang Por Chah, his kind of way of teaching, was not trying to convince me of anything or take any position whatsoever, but to observe, to be the knower of what I'm thinking, the opinion, whatever it might be, what I'm attached to, and to observe for myself the power of attachment, what produced, which is the cause of suffering. You know, this is what you do internally. It's not about blaming externally or forming views or critical attitudes about the conditions you're experiencing, but observing. So this puts us in what I call an intuitive state of consciousness, where there's consciousness and with awareness, combined with awareness. And then the Buddha's teaching, like what we used, the Four Noble Truths, was wisdom teachings, meaning we're not just grasping these words and these teachings, but we're actually applying them to the conditions we find within us. Now, the Four Noble Truths is not a teaching about one thing is better than another. It's pointing to the causes of suffering, and then a way of letting go of those causes to recognize, to have direct knowledge and insight into non-suffering. So this is what we call panya, or wisdom. Panya is the Pali word, translated generally into English as wisdom. And so this wisdom is a discerning ability. So it's not about judging, criticizing, comparing, because that's the thinking mind that we have. That's conditioned. But this is not conditioned. It's what you call a universal. It's Dhamma. It's a natural knowing, and you might call it a universal intelligence that operates through discerning the way it is. Now, the way it is, they tell me, Sumedho, about the way it is. And because people want me, they think I'm an expert. I've been a monk for so long. And so they would like, people would be quite willing to believe me, I think. Many people would, some wouldn't. But this is, it's not the point, it's a directing attention inward, to find out for yourself. This is not about the kind of meditation master position of, that I tell you what Buddhism is all about. The whole point of Buddha's teaching is find out for yourself. And so this is like the Pariyatti Dhamma, that the traditional Pali teachings that have been so well preserved in the Tripitaka. That's what we call Pariyatti Dhamma, or the kind of intellectual presentation of Buddha Dhamma through tradition. And then, so there's Pariyatti and then Bhati-bhati. Bhati-bhati is the practice of Pariyatti. Taking the Pariyatti teachings and putting them into practice, so you have the insight yourself. Because the teachings are not magical formulas that by being able to recite them you have a awakening experience, but you do by putting them to work for you, investigating, using them to discern the difference between suffering and non-suffering, between self and non-self. We have this ability to discern the self, the ego, the sense of me and mine, that I found so difficult when I first ordained. The anatta I found difficult to understand. But as I developed the practice of meditation, vipassana, and insight practices, then I began to see the ego, the sakkaya ditthi, the sense of a self, as a creation, and which I could observe as an object in consciousness, rather than operating from the self or the ego as the way I experience life through my personality and my habits and views. So at this time, this teaching seems to be sought after everywhere. We get invited to so many places all over the planet. The internet, the mass media, and all the rest is now making the teachings of the Buddha available, immediately. Push a few buttons and there they appear. And the amount of interest in the practice in Buddhist meditation is growing very rapidly, because there is a sense that we do need to develop wisdom. Just the manipulation of conditioned phenomena as we've been doing in the past is taking us to disaster. We're destroying ourselves through our own cleverness because we don't have the wisdom to know how to relate properly or deal with the conditioned realm that we're experiencing. So on this very auspicious day, my best wishes to this center, this Buddhist society, and has my blessings and all my hopes that in the future it'll be of great benefit to many, many people, and that they making available the teachings of the Lord Buddha, the practices, and also for each one of you to realize Dhamma and be liberated and free from all suffering.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We'd like to seek forgiveness from the greater Sangha, including the community of lay practitioners, again for what we may or may not have done properly, if we have caused any stress or unnecessary suffering to anybody. And so to lead us in this asking of forgiveness from the Sangha, we'd like to invite Brother Baksun, and also we would like to present some flowers as part of our asking for forgiveness from the Sangha. And so I pass the mic to Brother Baksun.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sanghe pamadena,
Sanghe pamadena,
dwaratayena, katang, sabang, aparadang, kamatu, nobante, Sanghe pamadena, dwaratayena, katang, sabang, aparadam, kamatu, nobante, Sanghe pamadena, dwaratayena, katang, sabang, aparadang, kamatu, nobante.
We now invite our representatives to present these flowers to members of the Sangha. And in this gesture, we seek forgiveness from the Sangha for any misdeeds.
Yathavari vaha pura paripurenti sakharang evameva hitotinang vedanang uvakapati ititang vatitang dumhang kipameva samichatu sape purento sangapa ยันโทปนรโสยธามณิโชติรโสยธาวัจจันตุสัพพะโรโควินาศตุมาเตภวัตวันตรายโยสุขิติขายุโกภวะอาภิวาทนาสิลิสนิจังวุฒาปัจจายโนญาณโรธัมมวัฏันติอายุวันโนสุขังมารังสัพพพุทธานุภาเวนะสัพพธัมมาภาเวนะสัพพสังฆานุภาเวนะพุทธรัตนะธัมมรัตนังสังฆรัตนังดีนังรัตนานังอนุภาเวนะจันตุราสิติสหัสธัมมาญานุภาเวนะพิทาคาดยานุภาเวนะชินัสสะญานุภาเวนะสาเปเนโรคาเปเนพยาสาเปเนหันธรายาเดโอภาทวาสาเปเนโทนิเมธาสาเปเนอวมังกลาวินาสันตุวายุวาทโกนาลาวาทโกสิริวาทโกยสวาทโกปลาวาทโกวันนาวาทโกสุขวาทโกโหตุสาบันทาดุกโรคพยาเวรัสภาณวะหเนกาหันตรายาภิวินาสันตุจเตจะสะกยสิติธานังลาภังโสทิภาคังสุขังบาลสิริอายุจวันโนจะโภคังวุธิสวาสัตวาสาจายุจชีวสิทธิบวันตุเตบวันตุสัมปมังกลังรักขันตุสัพพเทวตามาบุตตานุภาเวนัสสตาโสติบวันตุเตบวันตุสัพพมังกลังรักขันตุสัพพเทวตาสัพพธัมมานุภาเวนัสสตาโสติบวันตุเตบวันตุสัพพมังกลังรักขันตุสัพพเทวตาสัพพสังฆาภาเวนัสสตาโสติภวันตุเต
สาธุสาธุสาธุ
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธภะคะวาพุทธังภะคะวันตังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมมัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนัมมามิ The Sangha could now pay respects, take our leave of Luang Por together. ขอโอกาสกราบหลวงพ่อพร้อมกันนะครับ
let's pay our respects to the Sangha.
Brothers and sisters, today is a great day indeed. We, in particular, would like to express our deepest gratitude to members of the Sangha, and in particular, Ajahn Sumedho, for spending this morning with us. We also are greatly indebted to a lot of friends of the Dhamma who have supported both in terms of finances as well as in kind and in voluntary work in making today possible. And we want to also express our gratitude to all of the members of the Sangha who have traveled great distances to be with us. And so to close this morning's session, let us show our deepest gratitude and appreciation with 3 sadhus.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.